What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to yet another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, because pay-per-views are every week at this point, multiple per week, every day. You turn around, there's a pay-per-view, there's a premium live event, there's a special episode, whatever you want to call them. They're all just flying around like crazy. And we have WWE Clash in Paris that is happening this Sunday. So we're going to do our usual breakdown here, tell you what we think about the card that is currently scheduled, what our predictions are, what we're excited for, what we're not excited for, so on and so forth. If you don't know who we are, I'm Tony Mango, joined as always by Callum Wiggins.
Hello.
Robert E. Fleece.
I really prefer French toast to American toast.
I mean, French toast is great. I typically rank it third on the
You're wrong.
bread options on that. I typically go pancake, then waffle, then French toast. But, I mean, there was a point in time where it was clearly the number one. I just kind of hover around revolving that. You get into a waffle phase, whatever. You get a little snack talk in there.
Hey, listen, it's French toast, then waffle, then pancake, but they're all like 1A, 1B, 1C, because it's all great.
Cal, have you ever had like an American breakfast, like the overly saccharine crap that we have over here?
I'll just go and say that I've never had pancakes, waffles, or French toast. So
you are missing out, buddy.
I don't think so. It's just bread.
Well, hold on. You're not. He's not being serious.
No, I'm being serious. I've never had any of those things before.
Okay.
The frustration in your voice. One of these days, I don't know how it'll happen, but I'm not coming to America. So I'm gonna fly to the UK. I'm gonna abduct you, bring you over here, force you to eat chicken parm, some kind of Alfredo.
He lives over there. I'm sure you could get decent,
Yeah, I'm closer to France. I could probably get better French toast than you guys could. So.
and chicken parm in Italy, Tony. You get to do it all on that side of the world.
I don't know. I mean, everybody always talks about the different things in New York and stuff that you can't get elsewhere. Obviously, it's different one way or another, but I've never been to Paris.
I probably did have pancakes at some point as a kid, but I can't remember it. So I definitely haven't had one in the last 15 years or so.
Well, I am much more excited for whenever the future me ends up having some pancakes or French toast or whatever than I am to watch this pay-per-view, because this event is another example of the we just don't care type of booking that is happening so much in WWE recently. And I am fully in the I guess I'm just not going to pay much attention to it this Sunday type of environment. And typically, of course, the WWE stuff, the main roster stuff in particular, is the thing that I focus the most on. But man, WWE is adamantly just being like, we don't care. Why should you? But then they're trying to, of course, tell everybody else, well, you should care. This is the most important thing in the world. So 5 matches on this card, because that is their typical thing that they have been stuck in a rut doing for the past couple of years. All
Triple
but
H
one.
Decided he likes the number 5, and that was it.
I guess so. Or maybe they just mathematically calculated how many ads they need to throw in there, and then they were like,
"Oh, I don't want to think about that. That's gross."
It feels like that's what it is, but that's going to change too, because this is the last of the Peacock pay-per-views for the main roster. We're going to continue to do main roster stuff when it comes to Saturday night's main event over on Peacock, because Peacock is scrambling to try to continue to keep as many people as they possibly can for the next couple of months. So NXT has a whole bunch more pay-per-views happening, and then the Saturday night's main event is going to switch back over to there. So if you are a part of the ESPN group that you already paid for the app, or you're part of the, you get it through, I get it through Spectrum, at least it seems right now, but I think YouTube TV might have it in a bundle or something. Or maybe they haven't figured it out yet. I don't know. That's all way too confusing. Multiple people have been asking me, and I'm like, I don't know. I've kind of washed my hands of the whole thing. But this is not happening on ESPN. This is on Peacock, and that's the usual rundown there. They're going to try to have to scramble to figure out explaining a lot of this to a lot of people once we do get that switch over. And I'm sure there's going to be people that have already signed up for ESPN that are going to be upset when they try to log in and Clash in Paris is not happening on there. Then, well, I canceled my Peacock subscription. What the hell? That kind of thing. I imagine a lot of people are going to be sailing the seven seas in no time at all, but at least when it comes to this, it's the standard operating procedure. And since it is in Paris, it is going to be a little earlier than we would normally get for pay-per-views. So it is a 12 o'clock, I believe, pre-show, countdown, kickoff, whatever they want to call it, start time. And then I think it's 2 o'clock is when the show itself actually starts. So a 2-hour waste of time, which seems to be the norm these days. And as they just run down the card in 2 straight hours of, beating you over the head with, here's a clip of something else that happened in Paris, that kind of crap. We're going to give you a much more efficient breakdown and actually tell you what's going on and actually criticize things the way that they wouldn't be able to. So we also want to know what you have to say in the mix here, though. Obviously, you're listening to the podcast and you've got an opinion, so chime in whatever passion it is that you're listening to us on. If you're on just smarkatmoment.com, great, leave a comment there. Facebook, Twitter, Discord server, go ahead and check that out. Sign up for that. Head on over to that channel for the pay-per-views or something like that during the pay-per-view itself. Keep in mind, too, if you are on YouTube and you're leaving a comment there, hit the like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and get your email alert set up for the post-show immediately following the pay-per-view on Sunday. I guess it'll be early night, afternoon. Kind of depends on how long this is going to go, but it's usually around that 3-4 hour mark. So 5, 6, 7 o'clock, something like that. Keep in mind, too, if you want to help support us and just make sure that we continue to do podcasts and everything, keep the lights on here, toss a little spare change our way through the thanks button. Go to patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. And that gives you access to those kind of tiers over there. YouTube has the channel membership. It's exactly the same thing. And if you want to pick up some merchandise, it's Redbubble and TeePublic until I figure out something much better than those two, because those two suck. So, all that out of the way. Clash in Paris. Not looking particularly great. I'm not the biggest fan of the, the 5-match. Let's take 5 hours plus to do 5 matches, if you count the pre-show, when those matches are not particularly all that great to begin with. And this 4 Raw and 1 SmackDown card thing is just a mess in some ways to me. One of them being that the only match that was scheduled originally for this is not happening for it, which was Stephanie Vaquer winning the WWE Evolution Battle Royal to earn a Women's World Championship title shot. Now, granted, this is not WWE's fault in some ways. Now, I'm saying in some ways because it is in other ways. She was scheduled to go up against Naomi. And Naomi got pregnant, vacated the title, and WWE spent 3 weeks saying, we'll figure it out. Quite literally on this episode of Raw. So you figure on the episode that she was supposed to go up against Io Sky, they found out that she was pregnant, if not before that episode, and then pulled her from that match. Did not explain why. So for an entire week on the podcast, on articles, whatever, people like us were sitting there going, maybe she's injured, maybe she's pregnant, blah, 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 blah. So they had a week to figure that out, a week plus almost. On that next episode, Naomi vacates the title at the very end of the episode in the weird way that we've explained before, where it's like, look at this clip of the thing we recorded where Stephanie McMahon is the one we told and whatever. And all they had said back then last week was, and we'll figure it out when it comes to the title. This week, they take 30 seconds at most for Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, a.k.a. he's just a voice for the actual creative and stuff. It's not actually making these announcements. I know some people tweet at him and act like, you should get on this. And you should.
I love when they do that, though, because he just says, thank you for watching our television show.
Right. It is a TV show. I am not actually doing that, even though I'm filming myself while I'm walking my dog or something, saying I'm making a match. But he has a backstage segment with Stephanie Vaquer, and I'm not joking. This is the low effort that they put into it. Hey, since last week and the week before, we've known that Naomi is pregnant. You obviously can't fight her, but we have no idea what to do. Oh, we've got an idea. but it's going to take some time to finalize the details because now apparently Nick Aldis can't make a title match for Jade Cargill, even if Jade and Tiffany Stratton won it, because it takes too much effort, whatever. Yet every single episode is, that person hit that person behind this, been backstage. Well, now it's a fucking no DQ match, or, like any of that logic out the window. And you had time to sort out a number one contender thing. You could have announced it's Stephanie against the winner of the Roxanne and Rhea match. You could have put a battle royal back on there. You could have even done a number one contenders thing at Clash in Paris. But they said, give me another week and then I'll announce who you'll fight and when. So for the people that I'm seeing online that are going, oh, she's going to have a match next week on Raw. No, she's not. Next week, they might, because it's not a confirmation, they might next week tell you who she will eventually fight. They're taking an entire month to go, fuck, who do we have against Stephanie?
How do we get back to Rhea?
It's ridiculous. Just do the obvious things. If you don't want to give the belt to Stephanie Vaquer, give it to whoever else you want to give it to. It's a 2-hour conversation at max to figure out who do you want to have the belt and how do you want to put the belt on them. I think if the three of us, and we're not even 6-7 people like that, where we could have like even more creative ideas thrown into the mix. If the three of us were running this, I think we would be able to figure this out in a month or two's worth of plans in 45 minutes maximum. I don't even think we would take that long, the three of us. I think, honestly, if we wanted to, the three of us could figure that out by looking at the roster in 5 minutes.
No, but I don't even think, realistically, for what they're going to do, I don't think they need to look at the roster for more than 5 minutes. They know it's just going to be Io and Rhea again. And they're just figuring out, okay, how do I get there?
Maybe they're stalling it for the ESPN thing. And it's like, okay, well, at this point, we don't want to announce that it's not going to be at Clash in Paris because we want to announce it for the ESPN deal because that's our priority. And at least if we say, give us another week, Clash in Paris will be over, and then nobody will be upset that it's happening at the other pay-per-view. But to me, that just like goes to speak a lot of volumes of like how little they care about this Clash in Paris thing. And you could have easily just been like, okay, Stephanie Vaquer is in a different match or something. It's not hard. And I would be hard pressed to find a creative member in WWE right now that would say, it's impossible to figure out, and we need an entire month to sort out where we're going to go. I would love to hear the argument for that. But this episode of Raw was completely rife with just copy-paste from last week. They didn't put this... They couldn't possibly have put 5 minutes worth of thought into this episode of Raw. And if they did, they're terrible writers. And they need to hire me immediately because I would have done the job for them in a fucking half hour. But the Stephanie Vaquer situation is what it is, and it seems like it's been replaced at this point with Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. So, put a pin in that, at least for now. What about the Stephanie Vaquer thing in this? Any thoughts that you guys want to chime in about that, and where they should go and all that?
I have thoughts. My first thought is, it should be happening at this show. You advertised a Women's World Championship match at this show. Just take the two women you keep putting in these fucking matches and say, hey guys, you have another triple threat. And don't give me the idea of, oh, it's too much, it's overdone. They don't care. Just do it again. Or you make it, remember a couple of years ago when they were obsessed with Fatal 5-Ways? Like, you could do that, throw in Roxanne and Raquel, or, what I mean? Like, you have options. Lyra is walking around without a goal because she can't challenge for the IC title. Throw her in the mix. You've got Bailey. You've got options. Do one of your famous ladder matches. Do one of those, you know. But something should be done here because you advertised a women's world championship match. And I saw somebody on Twitter say they would have never done this for the men. And there was a time where I would have believed that. But because they just like to stall everything now, I genuinely believe that even if this was like, in case of emergency, break glass with a Roman having to forfeit the title, they would still just drag it out like this. Because this is what they do now. They just drag everything out for no reason. You can put a match together in a few days. You do it all the time. You know?
It's just laziness. That's the reason.
They
don't want to put the effort.
Oh, we have not designated a backup plan for this, so we won't think of one. And that's annoying for me. But yeah, I think whatever does happen, it's going to end up being another like multi-woman with, Rhea and Io and maybe Roxanne, maybe, like I think it'll just be another scenario like that.
I think it's easy to point out like an element of laziness, and that's definitely a potential it could be. The other alternative option is they have too many thoughts about what this is going to be, and they haven't decided which one it's going to be yet. So it could actually be a case of overthinking rather than underthinking. It's clear what they're doing right now in terms of they're building up a feud between Io and Rhea on one side, Asuka and Kairi Sane on the other side. So I would assume that the women's title vacancy at the moment ends up coming down to being lumped into that situation, with Stephanie kind of unfortunately being an afterthought because presumably she was just going to lose the match against Naomi anyway on this show, because otherwise you probably would book her to just have a match with anybody if you were planning to make her champion. So evidently she was just there to, win a battle royal, get a title shot to help raise her stock a little, but then inevitably lose to Naomi on this show. So there's a very good chance that they'll just go, okay, we'll just go do a 4-way between the women that we've just mentioned, like Io, Rhea, Asuka, Kairi, or do a triple threat between, get Kairi out of the mix and just have a triple threat instead, and pretend and just forget that Stephanie Vaquero have had a title shot.
It's such a shame.
They've done that before. They've done not that before. They've done something similar to that before. Or they'll do something. They'll have that match, and then Stephanie will get a title shot against the person and just lose the match that she was going to have anyway.
That's kind of what they alluded to. That it was going to be, we're going to make a new champion, and then you'll get a shot.
Yeah. So that's probably the route that you go with. And at the end of the day, that's probably, they've got a feud that's actually going on in the women's division that doesn't involve the title right now. So you might as well just throw the title into it. I'd say probably the next champion is probably going to be Asuka. So
wouldn't shock me.
That's what I told Tony from the jump. I was like, this is where Asuka shines. Like, somebody went down. We don't have the other horsewomen. Send in Asuka.
It does tend to happen a lot.
Going here.
Yeah. And then she'll get a relatively short, in the grand scheme of things, reign. Like she won't be until WrestleMania 2027 or something like that. And then they'll do the whole thing of well, it's too obvious if we go with one of those baby faces, so we need a heel so that the heel can lose, so then the baby face can be cheered and blah blah blah. They do seem very stuck on the idea of we've got certain people that we just don't want to win because we want you to be upset that they don't win, aka Jordan Grace and Javon Evans. So wouldn't shock me if they ended up applying that to Stephanie Vaquero too. But in their mind, they're like, hey, look, we're doing the Nikki Bella thing. That's a women's title match. It's Nikki Bella. It's Becky Lynch. Big names. Shut up. There you go. And admittedly, at least that's somewhat of an equivalent to, it's not like they're replacing this with all right, well, we promised you Stephanie Vaquero in a women's world championship match against Naomi, and we're giving you the Alpha Academy against JD McDonough and Finn Balor. and just being like, there you go, it's Akira Tozawa and Otis. You know what I mean? We're like,
You know
they're
what,
not,
though?
trying to pass it off as like, well, then we just have 4 matches instead and more commercials. Everybody, don't you love those?
There's an argument to be made here that, like, normally this would be the position where you slide Becky into the world title scene. And there's also an argument to be made that maybe the IC title should be being used for people who wouldn't normally win a championship otherwise. And it really feels like, I know Becky's trying to elevate the prestige of the belt. I get that. But, like, wasn't that a title made so that people like, the Chelsea Greens of the world could have something to fight for? And instead it's just like, well, here's Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella, and we're not going to come up with anyone for the world title tonight. Which is stupid.
Yeah. And for that matter, as far as the prediction of the match itself, Becky Lynch retains. Yeah, that's like nothing much to talk about. She's not losing the belt to Nikki Bella.
It would be very weird if she did. Becky Lynch should retain.
Yeah, Becky will win.
So it's like a 10-minute conversation about the match that they're not doing, and then 10 seconds for that. But that's how they they build it. It's just Nikki was like, hey, how about we fight? And then Becky's like, nah. And then a couple weeks go by and they repeat the same thing. And then eventually, all right. So that's how I've taken to writing a lot of my recaps and stuff lately, is I'm just calling attention to exactly the reality of the whole thing. So it'll be like, one of the other matches that's scheduled for here, Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. It's like, okay, well, what did they do on this episode? Roman stood out there for 28 minutes and was like, hey, crowd's chanting, cool. And then Bronson Reed's like, I took your shoes. And Heyman is like, well, listen here, I'm just fucking, I'm just going to do my shit and we're going to waste a bunch of time. And then Roman's like, I guess we're going to fight now. Fucking pointless. Don't you want to see Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns is here. Let's put Roman on the thing. Let's make a wallpaper for this event where it's just Roman's face. We don't even need to put Bronson Reed on there. He gets his shoes back. He beats him and then he takes his shoes back. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he gets more of his shoes stolen. It's one or the other. It means absolutely nothing.
Like, I really hope they don't add another pair of shoes to the shoe Lafala. It looks so stupid. But
I want them to add so much more. I want this guy to be just like dozens of shoes. Turn into the skid.
That's so stupid. This match is cool. Like, I'm coming to the realization that Roman is entering his post 2014 John Cena era, where it's just going to be a bunch of random matches, and the whole idea is going to be like, oh, but he's here, but Roman's on the card. And listen, no one can have a worse post main event run than John Cena, because he just started doing whatever. I don't want to see Roman get to that point, but I do like Bronson Reed. So I'm hoping that they have a really solid match here, because I think Bronson can deliver if given the chance. And I think Roman Reigns, when he feels like turning it on, is very fun to watch. But I'm going to go Reed wins. Maybe they add another pair of shoes to the shoe Lafala.
No, I'd say it's just a pretty obvious Roman wins, because he's not, like, Bronson Reed's the lowest rung on the totem pole of like the Division group. So if the inevitability is that he's going to be fighting Seth at Mania or wherever it ends up being, then like the stumbling block for him there is Bron Breakker. It's not Bronson Reed. So you just have him beat Bronson fairly comfortably here, have Bron Breakker attack him, and then maybe you can go a little bit more 50-50 with Bron Breakker if you want to go down that route. But realistically, Roman's not going to wrestle again until I don't think he'd be on that show. Like
See, I
you've
think he will
you've
be.
already got
Because
you've already got Cena and
Yeah,
and
Cena and
Brock.
Lesnar. You got Cody and Drew McIntyre, and then potentially
confirmed?
crowning the women's
It's
world
not
title
confirmed,
thing.
but like, yeah, it's not confirmed. But like, if you're only gonna have, because they only do 5 matches at most on most shows, so like, there's no need to put Roman on that one. So realistically, Roman's probably not gonna wrestle again until Survivor Series
Well, Crown Jewel is also
or Crown
happening.
Jewel. Oh yeah, Crown Jewel, and that's when you do a Braun Breaker match, and then at Survivor Series you do a War Games match, and then you're pretty much on the road. And then he probably won't have another big match again until Royal Rumble.
yeah,
So
I think he's skipping Australia. I think he'll do WrestlePalooza because it's the first show on ESPN. Let's get all the stars on there, and then he'll skip Crown Jewel and do Survivor Series.
Well, you know what's weird is that there's actually reports going around, which of course, take it with a grain of salt until they actually announce something or not, that Crown Jewel might not have the Crown Jewel Championship involved. So if that ends up being the case, then their softball easy setup of Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins that can take some time away from things and do something that doesn't have to require them to really think could potentially be out of the window too, which would then be like, okay, well then now you need to actually start booking another title thing. And then, kind of like, obviously they're not going to do certain matches at like, Worlds Collide is technically before WrestlePalooza, and then there's like No Mercy and stuff like that. But like Crown Jewel's supposed to be something, that's in Australia. They should care. Or have we actually entered the phase of now the things that we cared the most about, which was the international shows? Now we don't even care about them either. And
It could be but I could also see the Crown Jewel title not being a factor if Saudi was like, no, you said that was ours. I could see that being a thing. But if for whatever reason they don't want to do Cody Seth, they could just do, all right, you're in Australia. Rio will probably have a major match on that one. Seth could probably get away with a tag match with the Vision. You could do like the Vision versus OG Bloodline or something. I don't know.
I'm well past the point of not being interested in the old school booking of when there used to be one show a week, but we're going to try to make it 8 shows and have the same like lack of story progression. Because back in the 80s or, the early 90s or something, you could get away with having damn near nothing because there wasn't that much you really were trying to do. And it was like, we got our episode of like Challenge or Superstars or whatever it is, and you have 2 worthless kind of, Bastion Booger beats so-and-so jobber because you're really here to just check out the one segment with the Intercontinental Champion or whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, because it was an hour-long show and you had your other 1 hour or 2 hours of Raw, or that was, whatever. And everybody kind of just, that's our one little tiny thing of pro wrestling. And then we're going to go to the live event if there's a live event. Now, if you've got 900 hours worth of TV, you can't book it the same way. And that's what they seem to be doing. They're at least trying to recondition fans into that kind of philosophy. And I am not at all okay with just being like, we got nothing going on, but hey, in 8 months, we're going to come back around to this and we're just going to have the same tag team match over and over. How many times can fucking LA Knight face Braun Breaker? And how many times
Jey Uso could face Braun Breaker?
How many times is every single episode of Raw going to be the Vision starts off, they cut a promo, it's the same promo, Jey Uso comes out, yeet, CM Punk comes out, they have a brawl, whatever, LA Knight has that, oh, look at that, we got a tag team match for later on, let's come back to that in an hour and a half, and then in an hour and a half, we do the whole entrances, and then now we've got 15 minutes left in the show or whatever. Let's do a generic match with the interference at the end. Every fucking time. And Yeah, for anybody that listens to this show and they just go, man, Tony's like, he doesn't seem that passionate. There's nothing to be passionate about. They're not passionate about it. They're just running through the numbers. They don't give a shit. You know, how do you... I'm passionate about the things that work with me. I had tears in my eyes last night writing something for my own blueprint because I was like, wow, the scene would really, really work and that would be really cool and whatever like that. Because I cared about that. Good writers can write well. I don't know. Lazy writers write shit. Hire me. I'll do better. This has been a giant plug for, give me a job, I guess. And of course, a giant, why would we ever hire this guy? He's ragging on us. But I'm so, disillusioned with a lot of that, we can go into it with the four-way already. It's Seth Rollins against CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. Rollins is retaining, obviously. The three of them are going to fight with each other. They're all going to be in a, kerfuffle, and if somewhere down the line, Seth Rollins is going to pin Jey Uso or LA Knight. There you go.
I mean, yeah, that seems to be the case. To be fair, they couldn't put Rollins against anybody and make it feel like there's potential he's going to lose because he just won the title, and it's obvious they're going to do the Reigns match at WrestleMania. So pretty much the next 8 months is pretty much just a procession up to that point. So you just got to wait for that to happen. So yeah, at least with this one, with a four-way, they've opened up the possibility that they're going to go into a more, I guess, wider spanning LA Knight and CM Punk feud off the back of this, probably.
Oh boy, that's fucking exciting.
I'm not saying it's exciting, but it's something that they're going to do.
Sorry, that was a very knee-jerk reaction. That's just how I would feel about that. I wish Rollins would just lose. I've said this 1,000 times this year. I would love for these titles to change hands more often. Not saying Rollins can't be the defending champion at Mania, but I would just love for people to lose and for it not to just be Mania to SummerSlam, SummerSlam to Mania. That's fucking boring. You have 500 hours of things in between. Do something else.
See, here's where somebody would make the argument. Well, Jay won at WrestleMania, and then he dropped it to Gunther, and then Gunther dropped it to Punk, and then Punk immediately lost it to Rollins. Oh, the title's changed so many times this year. And it's yeah, but it doesn't feel like that. Because it really, for the most part, feels like Jey Uso won the title from Gunther. They waited a little while, hit the reset button, and then Rollins won the belt.
Hit the reset button at SummerSlam to get to Mania, because it's all you care about.
Right. And I'll give them credit when it comes to the idea that at least the Seth Rollins and CM Punk feud makes sense in the way that, why would they stop hating each other just by having a few matches? Of course they're going to continue to hate each other afterward and all that. But I'm not invested in Jey Uso trying to win that World Heavyweight Championship back. They are... I guess if I'm being perfectly honest, because I'm always trying to, play devil's advocate in one way or another. If they're not booking to me, if they're booking to the casual person, there are plenty casual people, because people are dumb, that are, sorry everybody, if you're just going to say, oh, I was thinking that, and Tony just called me dumb. That are going, that are going into this going, Jey Uso's got a chance. There are plenty of people that are legitimately thinking LA Knight is going to walk out with the championship here because they convince themselves of that. And WWE's greatest strength is that its audience base, for the most part, are fucking stupid. Let's be honest. Pro wrestling fans are not smart.
Well,
I'm lumping myself into this. I know how silly and dumb this shit is. And I consider myself relatively smart compared to, there's plenty of people that are smarter than me in every single category, but I also am smarter than the average, just bumbling fuck idiot. So it's...
You could have said bear, but you said bumbling fuck.
I could have been smarter than you. I mean, I don't know. Some of these bears seem pretty smart. I don't have a picnic basket. Do you?
Okay.
They figure it out. But there are lots of people, kids and adults alike and whatever, that are like, anybody can win this match. CM Punk could totally beat Seth Rollins, and then that's a good story to tell. And Jey Uso just was champion. He could win. But then the people that analyze it are like, of course you're not fucking taking the belt off of Rollins. You just gave him the belt. And then, that hurts some of it. And they're trying to not book for those people. But then they do the opposite thing. And then they go out of their way to take certain things that are very clearly like, we want to work the people that are, reporting on this, and we want to like swerve the people that would be able to see this coming from a mile away and all. So they go back and forth between that thing. And right now they're trying to work into this idea of, if you look at this on paper, this pay-per-view has XYZ. It's got a quote unquote good old fashioned Donnybrook. It's got big names on it. Aren't you interested in that? And I don't know. It doesn't have that kind of appeal for me, because I look at that and I go, Rollins is good. Punk, sure. Uso, I like the guy. LA Knight, yeah. And I have no interest in this match, because it's just going to be Seth Rollins retains. Okay, when do Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed come out? Moving on, I
do feel like, to me, and I could be, maybe there's another example that's better than this. To me, this is the most WWE style match I've seen booked in a long time. Like, it's these four dudes. They're not like the best wrestlers in any capacity. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, LA Knight's clearly a better wrestler than
AJ Styles,
even the other three in the match. But like, I think it'll be fine. It'll be fun. Paris will chant 1-2 sacre bleu 500 times. And then, like,
it's going to be annoying, though. That's the thing. Everybody in the crowd's going to be
like... It is. Like, we could say what we want. We could be annoyed. Callum doesn't watch. I'm watching less than ever. You're just on autopilot. But, like, at the end of the day, these fucking things are just like, hey, everybody, did you see the WWE show at the WWE? And they did WWE there, and we got to chant 1-2 sacre bleu. That's all it is. Like, the match will be fine. Paris will yeet.
Don't you want to pay $9,000 to sit ringside to watch this?
But they'll pay $9,000, but they'll fucking yeet, and they'll sing Rollins' song, and they'll say yeah, and like that, they'll be happy, and everybody will be happy, and I will wish the booking was better.
All that much more proof of what I was just saying about dumb fucking wrestling fans. You dangle some keys in front of them and you just go shiny object, and then they go, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's like, don't you want to just do the song again? Aren't you here to just raise your hands left and right? And, hey, we can't really get you to like follow, I don't know, like, pick somebody random at like NXT or something that they're like investing in. Like, that's too complicated for you to be into this kind of character. But if they have a catchphrase that's one word, because we got to simplify it for you fucking simpletons. Yeah. Yes. No.
It's gotten a little out of control.
Tell me that that's not what you see in the crowd. Come on.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is like, it's just boiled down to, we want to be part of the viral moment, and they'll cream themselves on commentary about how loud Paris is and how crazy they're going, because again, they're going to go out of their way. The agents in the match, Hunter, they're going to go out of their way and be like, do as many near falls as possible so these fucking people can chant 1-2 sacre bleu. That's because they loved it the last time and they're excited. But Rollins will win. I wish he wouldn't. I wish Punk would win. Give me a month of Punk as champion and let him lose it back to Rollins in Hell in a Cell in October and move on. But like, do something different than just, here comes the Vision, and the Vision takes out Punk and Uso, and Rollins will pin LA Knight because why wouldn't he? 1, 2, 3.
For argument's sake, pro and con. People love to glaze the Attitude Era. And of course, they're looking at it on a lot of like rose-colored glasses, and they're doing the thing that like literally all humans do it. I do it too. Like, it's not something where I can sit there and be like, wow, Tony keeps calling everybody dumb and thinks that he's better than everybody. I do this thing too. So we're all guilty of this. But you edit out the parts that suck from the past. And unless it's like fucking traumatizing or something, obviously. But like, you would look at like the Attitude Era and you funnel it and you go, man, Austin was so fun. And then when you watch the TV shows, you go, the fun moments were spread out once every couple of weeks, and a lot of the episodes really nothing happens, and a lot of the matches during those weren't really good, but then the moment is what I remember from that episode. And for an entire 2-hour episode of Raw, I remember the one thing where he threw the belt off of the bridge or whatever it might be, but you don't remember that fucking D'Lo Brown was up against what's his face from Los Boricuas, or you know what I mean?
No, you're not going to remember every single detail,
right?
Like, you're not going to remember how. So somewhere we got to the point where Big Boss Man and Ken Shamrock were tag champs, but I will argue you were at least invested because things were happening, and a lot of those moments, at least on the WWE side of the Monday Night War, were happening week to week to week through at least mid 99.
They were trying to give Stone Cold stuff to do, and it was like Stone Cold's not just like he wins the belt at WrestleMania and then he just holds it until WrestleMania, and then every week he just has the same tag match. They once in a while did have him lose the championship, and actually, like, in the grand scheme of things, he wasn't champion for giant.
He never had a reign that extended like 5 months, ever. Right? And he had the title 6 times.
And I'm totally okay with long reigns if you book them well, and certain people are more fitting for that. Like, Cody Rhodes winning the belt at WrestleMania, then not dropping it super fast. Yeah, of course, I wouldn't want him to drop it immediately. But it is very frustrating that, like, they're so rigid at this point that there isn't any room for what you just said, where it's like, well, it would be kind of interesting if Punk just beat Seth Rollins. Why can't they continue the feud with Punk being the champion for 2 months out of that? And then Punk could be champion for Crown Jewel and whatever. And then he drops it, or like he wins the belt here. Let's just say that happens, because it's not going to. Punk wins the belt here, and then the go-to rematch is at WrestlePalooza. And wow, we even got CM Punk and Seth Rollins on this card too. What a loaded show. Maybe we can fucking afford to have 6 matches on it, for God's sakes. And then Rollins and Punk at that show, they fight to a time limit draw. We don't have time limits anymore, but that would make sense. It's an easy thing. Why not fucking keep it? AEW has the right idea when it comes to that. And then we got to settle it. So in Perth, we're going to have that Hell in a Cell match or whatever it is. And then fucking Rollins wins the title back because a bunch of other people get involved. And then you go, you know what? The steel cage wasn't enough to hold you all because everybody got involved. So you're all in the steel cage match because that's the next fucking show. That's the War Games thing. Fucking 2 minutes worth of this, and there you go. There's a little bit more different than just Punk and Uso and Knight are going to have tag match over and over and over again. Rollins retains, he retains. Can't drop the belt until at least WrestleMania. But that's what's going to happen. Like, Rollins is going to retain. Punk and Uso and Knight will be wrapped up with each other, and then wrapped up with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. They'll probably do the thing that they did on Monday Night Raw this week, which makes no sense. Why would Roman Reigns not come help out?
Hey,
he's there.
Hey, you shut up.
So maybe if they're smart enough, Roman Reigns beats Bronson Reed, and then they all attack Roman, and then Roman's like taken out of the mix and he can get involved in the Fatal 4-Way. But I do fully expect Roman beats Bronson and then Rollins retains. So that way people go, yay, Roman, boo, Seth. And then sandwiched in between the two is the good old fashioned Donnybrook match or something. Actually, what do you guys think is going to be the main event? Do you think it's going to be Cena Paul, or do you think it's going to be Rollins?
There's no fucking reason on earth to not put John Cena in the main event of anything. Like, he's in his final run. Everything should just literally be him, doing his bow and like getting his praise from the audience.
And when he's not in the scene, the other characters should be asking, "Where's John Cena?" 10 points if you get the reference.
Okay. That is
maybe in December after Saturday night's main event, John Cena is just gonna float up on the screen. I have to go now. My planet needs me.
All the way back to his home planet. That we'll see. No, I think it should absolutely be the Donnybrook that headlines the show. Like, it should be Cena. Yes, Rollins has a world title match, but it'll be Roman opens, Rollins middle, Cena close.
Are you thinking Rollins opens? I'm not thinking Rollins opens.
No, I said Roman opens.
Oh, Roman. Okay.
Rollins middle, Cena close.
Yeah, I expect that. Yeah, Roman opens. Then you switch probably over to the Donnybrook match, I think.
I would go Roman, Becky, Donnybrook, Rollins. Or maybe Roman, Becky, Rollins, Donnybrook, Cena.
Yeah. So, good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. Yeah, it's much better than one of those bad old-fashioned ones. Sheamus and Rusev, we already joked about it before. The Celtic Warrior and the Bulgarian Brute are having this Irish-themed thing in Paris, because let's just do that. It's an ODQ match. There's literally no reason to call it a good old-fashioned Donnybrook other than they think that sounds catchy. It's the same as everything else. It's
we've established there will be barrels. There will be barrels. And I believe there will also be barrels. Should
have done some kind of partnership with Donkey Kong.
I was going to get there. Thank you.
Maybe they could do what's it called, Cracker Barrel, because they're apparently losing a whole bunch because people are crashing out over the fact that there's not an old man and a fucking barrel on the logo anymore. And yet at the same time, to argue an opposite of that, they spent how much money just to have the fucking flat logo? Like, how is this supposed to help give people? Hey, you know what? Those kids, they don't want to go to Cracker Barrel to get their fucking country fried steak. I think that they're going to want to go there if the logo is more boring. Like, the fuck is happening in this world? I don't understand how people are so goddamn dumb.
By the way, spot on for an old brand like Cracker Barrel to now jump on the minimalist trend as it is completely being
2013.
But also, if the chicken fried steak is good, you're gonna eat the chicken fried steak. Stop it. And shout out to AEW. They did the Cracker Barrel match. There was at the first All Out, they did the Cracker Barrel 3-way, and Darby jumped with the barrel. I think you're going to see a lot of Sheamus crashing through barrels. I don't know if it'll be sponsored by anything, but it could be. You could get some logos on the barrels. Branding, sponsorship.
You would think that the company that wants to slap a fucking logo on everything and just constantly have that flying around the screen would try to figure out a way to do that, but they haven't announced anything yet at the very least. So that's either going to be like breaking news on the fucking 2-hour pre-show that they'll be like, the good old-fashioned Donnybrook is sponsored by, and it'll probably be something that makes no fucking sense too. Like, at least the snap into a Slim Jim table thing is like, okay, you break the table, you snap into the Slim Jim. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll give you that one. It's not the most amazing idea in the world, but
don't give them that one. Okay, don't do it.
I'll give them that. I'll give them credit for where it's due here and there. But this will probably be some fucking, NXT's been sponsored lately by Maybelline a lot. Maybe they're born with it. Maybe it's NXT. But the good old fashioned Donnybrook match will be like, and this is sponsored by some fucking video game about collecting jewels or something. Rusev wins, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Rusev wins if they want to push him. He loses if they don't give a shit anymore.
he should win. This will be a fun match. I've liked their matches. Their matches are fine. You know, I'll have fun watching big dudes beat each other up. Like, that's what these two are going to do. And they'll bring up the fucking League of Nations for the 100th time, as if anybody wants to remember that. And we'll move on. But I think Rusev should win because he is relatively the more fresh of the two.
I haven't been following closely enough to know. I've been following the podcast, but not following this rivalry enough to know which one is like more likely to win. Like, you'd assume it's Rusev because he's the one that's newest back, and Sheamus just typically tends to lose these feuds in the end because what else is there for him to do other than never win the Intercontinental Championship? So yeah, I think that they'll just have Rusev probably win. It might not even be over, who knows? Like, this might not be like the end of the feud. It's probably just like a halfway point for it.
They've been doing a lot of things lately where Adam Pearce or Nick Aldis is like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this. This is going to end at this match, this pay-per-view, this gimmick, whatever it is. And then the feud does still continue. Like, the TLC match was supposed to be the big end of the tag team title situation in SmackDown, and then they ended up having another one. And then that was the one that led into, okay, well then backstage, Street Profits and DIY are getting into an argument or something. Well, I guess you're going to continue to keep fighting each other. And like,
well, imagine that. You can't take every fucking team
right
in the company and then go, this is over. Because then what are you going to do?
Yeah. So they didn't, either they didn't think about that kind of stuff, or they think about it and they just go, but shut the fuck up. Here we're just going to do this match and stuff. And so much of the booking is just fucking go with it. Just accept anything and be a good boy. And then admittedly, some of the people that follow are like, you don't have to watch it if you don't want. And you're like, okay.
Hey, we do not shame anybody's kinks. If they want to, if that's what gets them going, you let them be told to be a good boy.
I had seen somebody criticizing Nikki Bella's promo last night during Raw, and it was it's a valid criticism. They were like, "Man, Nikki Bella always does this thing with her head where she's like, like looking off to the side and whatever, and like bobbing her head around, and like I don't believe any of her promos. Like, after all these years, she hasn't gotten any better." And then immediately the response underneath it was somebody that was just like, "Don't watch then." And I was like, okay, let me click on this person's account. Oh, okay, this person's just like, Nikki Bella is for the girls and the gays, and the men don't have any right to say any complaints about Nikki Bella. And I'm like, oh god, it's the Stan bullshit again. Like,
every time we talk about Nikki Bella, that's the people I bring up because I understand who Nikki Bella is appealing to. That just is what it is.
Hey, I apparently have no right to talk about it because I am not only a straight white male, but I also criticized a Nikki Bella match one time on a Bleacher Report thing when I said everything other than the Nikki Bella match was a great match, and then that turns out that I absolutely hate everything that's ever existed about women. So, on an all women's card, where I go, 9 out of 10 things are great. Didn't really love the other one. It's the fucking worst. So,
how dare you?
Yeah, you got to love everything no matter what it is. You got to just eat your shit that somebody feeds you down your throat. And then you wonder why the world's the way that it is right now. It's 'cause nobody has any fucking balls anymore. Well, Donnybrook match.
We don't have balls, but we've got Pauls.
Throw your opinions about the Donnybrook match in the comments below. The main event, or at least what possibly could be the main event, is John Cena versus Logan Pauls. And the question here is Brock Lesnar showing up? Because if it's a matter of we want to heavily promote the ESPN thing and we just desperately want you to care more about the Brock Lesnar thing, then Brock flies over to Paris and he interferes and he costs John Cena. Logan Paul can run around and go, I beat John Cena, boo, whatever. And then you can't wait to see that because that match is happening on ESPN and that's our priority. Or if they don't get Brock Lesnar to fly over, then John Cena just beats Logan Paul. And then they just have, Cena pop up elsewhere to get beaten up by Brock Lesnar. It's really just a matter of that. And that's something that we can't figure out because we don't know their itinerary. But there's no way that it's anything. Logan Paul's not beating John Cena clean. Logan Paul beats John Cena through Brock Lesnar or he loses. The end. There's no other way around it. At least that's how I see it. I don't know. Maybe you guys have a different opinion.
Well, so this is the part where I rant about how much they fucked up John Cena's farewell run. Because I can't imagine a scenario where you could have fumbled the ball on this. And regardless of whether or not I want to see Lesnar, how do you not have Brock Lesnar do something for the last month? In what other era, in what other anything would they have done? Oh my God, it's the biggest thing ever. Brock Lesnar's back home after 2 years. And then he's just not there. And Cena addresses it once by saying that now Brock Lesnar has a John Cena problem. What? I don't understand why he wasn't at least on an episode of Raw just to explain why he's going after Cena. Or on an episode of Raw or SmackDown to throw Cena around again. It was just like, okay, that's it. And then suddenly you get here's this surprising ESPN deal where John Cena will face somebody he hasn't faced in over a decade. Just fucking say Brock Lesnar. You know, like, what are we doing here? I think Brock Lesnar should show up. I think Logan Paul should win because Brock Lesnar shows up. Because if not, it's just LOL. Of course, Cena beat Paul, and then we'll see you in September for the Lesnar match. That's as ice cold to people who don't care about the Ruthless Aggression era or the John Cena takes 15 German suplexes match from 11 years ago. That's what. Can we talk about something modern? Like, fuck. No, seriously, can we talk about something that like happened that is relatively recent and isn't just, hey, do you remember the Shield chair? Hey, do you remember this one obscure CM Punk promo from 13 years? What are we doing? Like, you've got a roster that's stacked. You've got a bunch of young people down in NXT. Make a star for tomorrow. Make a star who's going to be around for the next 10 years, hopefully. Why is everything just, yeah, but you don't care about that. The WWE is the brand. Don't you care about the WWE? Did you see the WWE matches where they WWE'd? Like, I hate it. I hate it so much because part of the fun of being a fan is having your favorites. And I feel like everybody now is just a fan of the idea of a wrestling company. And I'm just going to stan this company, except for the women, who will just be like, oh, this one just debuted from the Performance Center, and I stan them now. Can we fucking create stars?
Don't you want to go into the idea of you're supposed to like somebody purely by their vibe and aesthetic and not anything else? And if you're a Lainey Reed fan because of her outfit or something, then that's the most important thing in the world.
Okay, but that is a great launching point, and then you can create stars. You know what isn't creating stars? John Cena just being like, I'm a heel now. LOL, just kidding. Here's 3 matches with R-Truth. What? There's so many people to the point where they had him reference it on SmackDown, where he's like, I should have fought Dominic Mysterio. I should have fought Jacob Fatu. I should have fought. It's like they're laughing in your face.
I mean, the response to that pretty much is when he goes, everybody wishes I fought these guys instead of these other ones. And you go, yeah?
Yeah, they're fucking laughing in your face.
But we're not. And then you go, well, why not? And they go, we like when you're mad.
The dude has like 8 more events after this. Probably only 2 of them will be matches. This sucks.
Yeah.
This sucks. Yeah, I wanted to see him fight Logan Paul. I'm not like, I get why they're doing this. But damn, the whole thing has been a mess. And I'm just at the point where I fucking hated it. The whole thing. You know, and it's a damn shame because they're just gonna be like, but weren't you there when John Cena turned? And it did fucking nothing. Thanks. You turned him babyface on a random SmackDown opening promo. What? This is the only thing I've cared about in the build to this show because I'll be honest with you guys, I've been watching nearly enough WWE in the last month to have more informed opinions about much else on this card outside of the fact that I have watched everything that they've done with Cena and I've pretty much hated the bulk of it. And it sucks that he's got so few dates left and we're running out of matches. And his farewell is going to be a fucking Saturday night's main event.
Which, based off of the way that they did the last farewell at a Saturday night's main event, he might end up getting his fucking thing cut off.
Right. Hopefully it's exclusive to Peacock, so we're not dealing with commercials. Because, whatever. Yeah, I'm very frustrated as somebody who's like looking forward to this. I'd be this frustrated with New Japan if Tanahashi's was shit. You know, like these are generational wrestlers, and you fumbled the whole way through, and I hate it.
Any other thoughts, Cal?
I mean, I find it all very funny. So, as someone who just doesn't watch and doesn't care and loves to see WWE suck, yeah, this is all very funny, and they couldn't have like planned to book his retirement run any worse. It's probably the worst. It's worse than the Angle one. It's worse than a lot of other things they've done before. And yeah, if I cared more, I probably would be as upset as Rob is, but I don't, so I just find it funny. So, there's a good chance he'll lose this one because he's lost most of his matches since, well, obviously he won the title and then won a few matches off the back of that, but when he doesn't have a championship, he pretty much loses most of the time, so it wouldn't surprise me if he lost to Logan Paul because, you know, they're making this new star. The new star is Logan Paul. There's probably going to be that will, you know, wrestle 5 times in a year, but that's kind of the norm now for your top stars in WWE.
Yeah.
Well, the workhorses.
I fucking hate it. I'm sorry. It's legitimately so frustrating because I'm not at the Callum point. I know a lot of people who are, where they're just not watching and they're just like gladly watching this promotion fucking dive into the toilet. And I'm not fully there yet.
Well, we're not watching that. We're watching a company that is, say, creatively bankrupt, and most people seemingly just, I say a lot of people don't enjoy it, but is getting richer and richer and more secure with every single passing month, year, whatever you want to look at it, because that's just, you fail upwards in this society. Not even that like fail upwards, they're very good at the commercial side of things, they just don't do the creative side of things well, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if the creative thing sucks as long as the commercial's doing well in that kind of business mindset.
It's the whole buy vibes thing, and I hate it.
Yeah, that's the point. The only things that matter in the creative sense from WWE is the entrance before the bell rings and then the celebration after the bell rings. That's the only 2 things that really matter.
And the funny thing is, look, I'm not going to sit here. I know there was a stupid tweet the other day I saw. It's like Cody Rhodes is the greatest technical wrestler of all time. I'm not going to do that.
Wait, what? I like Cody, but come on.
But like bell to bell, the wrestling's not bad. But it's so much fluff that like it seems like it's never been worse. Like the vibe right now.
The pay-per-views the pay-per-views are like on the whole one of the best things about WWE because it just for the most part it's just a case of just let the wrestlers go out there and just do what they want to do and let them just go have fun, do stuff. Obviously they might have some angles involved in it as well, but for the most part it's a case of we'll just let the wrestlers wrestle. That's why I would stand by the fact that as someone who isn't watching hugely, but I would say from what I have seen, the best shows they do are Saturday night's main events because there's very little bullshit. There's very little like heavy. Well, there's sometimes like a promo segment, whatever, but there's very little like just backstage stuff or storytelling. It's just let's go out there and just have a good match. and try and impress that way. Evolution is probably been their best bell-to-bell pay-per-view of the year, and it's just a case of, we just put them out there and they just had a load of great matches. And so, and that's why I say that's someone from a mindset of like AEW does stuff really well, because fundamentally for most of their pay-per-views, they're just a case of, just go out there, we'll build all the stuff up week to week, but then pay-per-views, all the big shows, case of, we'll just let the wrestling happen, let the wrestling speak for itself, because that's what it's all supposed to build towards. I think there's just a mindset of a lot of people these days that like wrestling, especially in the WWE side of things, that wrestling is the least important part of wrestling.
See, I make the argument that like I am not invested.
Yeah, but you're a WWE fan, so I know that. So right, like, I know you're going to say, but like,
I'm not invested in just watching the pure match by match, because if I was, then I think I actually would be more into WWE, because the matches, like, the people are talented. I care when I care about the story and the match, and AEW brings good matches, but they don't bring great stories.
No, they don't. WWE, they bring great stories. WWE brings bad stories and good wrestling.
Hold on.
It's the other way around. Like, it's again, I'm not making this like an AEW thing, but it's the constant thing. The problem with AEW is they tell too many stories. The problem with WWE is they don't tell enough.
I think,
and people think it's the reverse, because they're just blocked into this mindset that that's the way it's always been, so that's the way it is. It's complete opposite nowadays, and anyone who thinks the otherwise is really, really not paying attention closely.
I think Callum is right here, because I do think this year in particular, AEW has told a lot of stories, and outside of the fact that Paul Heyman turned on Rollins, name me a WWE story that is carrying storylines right now. Like, AEW has told a lot of stories, but Callum's right. Everybody's locked into this mindset that they think WWE is doing cinema.
It's the worst thing. Sorry, let me interrupt. It's the worst thing because people like rail about how AEW doesn't tell stories. It makes them feel like they need to tell more stories, which is even worse because they're already telling so many. The worst thing about, I don't want to bring up too much about Forbidden Door because we'll talk about it a bit more on the hot tags, but the worst thing about the Forbidden Door show was the ending of the MJF and Hangman Page match. Because they've rammed so much bullshit storytelling devices into the last 10 minutes, or otherwise awesome match. And they say that's the thing that's killing AEW. Not killing AEW, obviously they're totally fine, but that's the thing that like annoys me about AEW is that they're trying to tell too many stories. And they're trying to throw too many of these devices and ballyhoo into what should just be, have great matches and do traditional stuff instead. Whereas like WWE, they actually do a lot more of the traditional stuff because that's kind of Levesque's bread and butter. Like that's what he thrives in. That's what made NXT so successful is the in-ring work in between it. And then, a few more conventional wrestling angles like the DIY split, the Kevin Owens attacking Sami Zayn, they're very like rooted Mid-South wrestling angles. It's when, and that's what made NXT so great. Nowadays, they don't tell any stories. They just, they just put on a show every single week and print money off the back of it because just people are going to show up regardless because they want to yeet. So I think that's the kind of vibe things are right now. And this match is the most kind of story told thing because it's just because the story for this year is Cena's retiring and they've built a lot of the year around that. But as Rob says, it's been an absolute disaster creatively to the point where they turned him heel, have to turn him back babyface because it was such a disaster. And now, let's say, Lesnar comes in, they do that angle, nothing comes of it, and he just switches Logan Paul. So, as Tony's pointed out, the outcomes of this is Cena beats Logan Paul, and then you have the Lesnar thing afterwards, or Lesnar comes out and that costs Cena the match against Logan Paul. So it's at least that makes this match the most de facto interesting that and the Donnybrook match, because those two are the ones that have the least clearly defined winner. So we can at least have a bit of speculation about them. But yeah, other than that, it's I'm not exactly looking forward to the match because Cena isn't a great worker anymore. And with a really good worker, then it could come out all right. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't really had any great matches this year. Like the Cody one, you can make an argument for at SummerSlam but it was essentially just finisher spamming the entire match. So, like, there's no psychology involved. There's no psychology or storytelling involved in that match. Just hitting your finisher over and over and over again until it's done. So yeah, I don't think Logan Paul has the experience. As talented as he definitely is as a worker, he doesn't have the experience to help carry Cena through this one. So I imagine the match is going to be pretty poor as well. So,
well, here's the other issue. They could decide, screw it, we want to have our cake and eat it too. We want John Cena to beat Logan Paul and for him to be celebrating afterward, and then Brock Lesnar to come out and to attack him.
Yeah, that's
the most boring option out of the bunch too, because that also doesn't do anything for Logan Paul, doesn't continue the story in any kind of different way. But that would be their, like, if Cena has no Brock Lesnar involvement, like if let's put it this way, I'll rephrase it better. If Lesnar is sent over to Paris, Cena gets beaten up. He either loses or he gets beaten up after winning. And it's like, Brock Lesnar puts him out with an F5 and there you go. Like, that's the big story, is if Lesnar is there, he takes out Cena. It's not about the Logan Paul thing. And then even that though, like, and this is where I get into like the whole storytelling thing. Like, I don't think there's stories being told in WWE and AEW when there are supposed to be stories. And what was the story between like Swerve and Okada? Swerve was challenging for the title.
Yeah, that's a story. You can have a feud be a top.
If you call that a story, Okada, then everything is a story, because everything is they're having a match and they want to win.
But Okada was also like, "Fuck you! You made my friends miserable."
And they also told the story of like Swerve. Yeah, well, Swerve. The reason why this feud happened is because like Okada was annoyed at Swerve for costing the Bucks their jobs, and so Swerve came out to challenge him for the title.
I think that's a lame type of a story. You could say it's a
lame story.
You could say it's lame, but that's
not the.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but it is a story.
To me, that's as much of a story as Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch have going on right now. Actually, even less probably.
Well, that's a totally fine story to have. It's like, you don't have to like the story, but it's a case of they are telling stories. But there is really no story between the Logan Paul John Cena thing, other than the fact that, like, you could push the idea of like they tagged together earlier this year. Yeah, they're just having a match, and it's the idea that like Cena did one of his famous promos where he just buries the guy, and like, and essentially it's the I saw someone write about it on X or something, saying along the lines of, this is what Cena does, where he takes the young guy and just buries him 6 feet under the ground with his promo ability, and then if they can come back from it, then they're clearly like a talented guy. So that's why it worked for Roman, it didn't work for Austin Theory, and it's good to see like, okay, does this work for Logan Paul? So, but with Logan Paul it's always the same, because basically everyone cuts the same promo against Logan Paul anyway, that he's a social media star and doesn't actually care about pro wrestling or anything on those lines. So yeah, I mean that's every single feud that Logan Paul has had pretty much. And
then he has the same fucking response back. Oh, you all hate me, but I do this better. I'm fucking great. I do everything great, whatever. And you're like, okay, I've seen that promo. And then Seth Rollins comes out and goes, ha ha ha, I'm the fucking visionary. And then you go, fucking hell, I get it. Can you say something different?
And to be fair, John Cena, same like 3 beats when he's not when he's babyface these days, which is, hey, John, you went away like you said you never would. Hey, do you remember Nikki Bella? You were in a relationship with Nikki Bella. Now you can't see her. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
It's so maddening, because it's like, then they try to do something quote unquote different. And then it's so often it's like, oh, fuck me, you didn't even put the effort in where that you needed to with there. Like, look at the Bailey thing. The Bailey thing is dumb. Like, again, suspension of disbelief. I'll buy into fucking, Kane can put his hands down and the fucking flames on the ring post pop up. Okay, I'll buy that. Whatever. Why is Bailey schizophrenic, multiple personality, angel on one shoulder, devil on the other shoulder, stuff getting picked up by the fucking camera? Who is telling her to go sit behind the stage, behind the scenes, to film her just going, I'm going kind of crazy, and then they go, okay, next week can you come to fucking the whatever dome in Illinois for you to have that backstage as well? And then you got Lyra Valkyria being like, can anybody check on Bailey? And Adam Pearce is like, I don't fucking know, it's not like it's my job, even though my job is to run this fucking show. And it's so fucking dumb.
Well, the Wyatt Six killed people. The fucking Wyatts killed people. Like we could go all day on the ridiculousness of the suspending disbelief, but that's the thing that's maddening about Cena is that ain't it here. This is as cut and dry as this is Babe fucking Ruth. This is Michael Jordan. This is. He didn't get to do it because he died. But remember, Michael Jackson was doing the whole "This Is It" tour. This is it, and you fumble the fucking ball. I'm sorry, it's gonna piss me off forever because I was a kid. Like I was 8 when John Cena debuted on TV. I watched the whole fucking thing unfold. It's painful watching them just fizzle it out in the name of. But oh my God, we're breaking records. I don't care. The stories suck. The TV sucks. The whole thing, like, come on. You can do better. WWE can do better. They're actively trying to sabotage all the goodwill that they had 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and just do garbage. And that's why I'm so annoyed about this particular setup. Because you're pissing away goodwill.
From when you said 8 years old, this is how quickly this popped in my head. Just as an example, when you said that, I was like, oh, you know, it would be kind of an interesting story that I'd like to see unfold that they're not going to do. And I think somebody like a Drew McIntyre probably would be the best person to pull this off. Why doesn't somebody tell the story of, I need to beat John Cena before he leaves because I need to have that on my record? And I will try to get a match, and he doesn't want to give me a match. So I'm going to start like attacking him or whatever until he gives me the match because I need to beat John Cena because I'm never going to get another chance after this. So doesn't matter if it's for the title. Doesn't matter if it's whatever. I need to beat John Cena so I can say I beat John Cena and he was around at the time that I was wrestling. You know, you obviously like, you know, a Drew McIntyre can't say that he beat Bruno Sammartino because he wasn't wrestling at the same time. But like, I will be pissed if I end my career without having a win over John Cena in my record books. So you motherfucker, you need to give me a match. I'm going to attack you all across the board. Brock Lesnar attacking John Cena. What is the story here? They've not given us a single. He just went and did that because don't you want to see those two have a match? That's it. There's no story.
So one wrestler is doing the story of I have to have a match with John Cena. It's fucking Joe Hendry. And he don't even work there.
Yeah. So you got to get a TNA guy that's in NXT to do a story that they don't want to pay any attention to. And they're literally not going to do it. Like, it's not like John Cena's going to have that match. That's just Joe Hendry trying to put it out there so that if it gets enough support that WWE might pay attention to it enough to do it. And like, I don't blame him for it. Like, why not try, you know? But it's like, that's the wrestler, the performer himself going into business to try to tell that story because the WWE writers aren't fucking thinking of it. Like, fuck me, man. Like, you got 5 stories because you don't want to tell even more than 5 stories. And then your stories here are as low effort as they possibly can be. And I don't know. Maybe I should change the title for this instead of just like Clash of Paris predictions or something. Maybe I should give it one of those kind of like, you know, the crown jewel sucked things. Maybe I should just be like Clash in Paris seems boring or something. It's
and
a good
put
title
boring
for
in
this.
capital. Put boring in all caps.
Maybe I'll go with that. Yeah. Because this ended up being an hour or something.
Sorry, I had to rant at the end there. Cause
I mean, I ranted for the majority of this. It's mostly me going off for no reason. You know.
I just like here to just like the vibes and laugh really because like I say I don't care. Like this does little to affect me one way or the other. So
yeah, it's a different story not being able to watch that than just being able to watch the show that you find more fun.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the case.
Yeah. So, I mean, I already talked about my thoughts on Forbidden Door, my pros and my cons. I thought that, that was a typical AEW pay-per-view. I gave my thoughts about Heat Wave and how much that was disappointing. The SmackDown episode on Friday is going to be in the afternoon again. So that's when we normally record the hot tags. So I'm going to try to figure out another time to do the hot tags. Maybe I'll end up doing it on my own. Maybe I'll be able to get either one of these guys or both to join me, depending on what we do. I highly, highly, highly doubt that anything is going to change about Clash in Paris before the pay-per-view, especially because it's like, well, NXT's tonight, then tomorrow's Evolve, and then Thursday doesn't have any WWE stuff, and then Friday is, the pay-per-view is on Saturday already anyway, or a Sunday already anyway. So if anything does change, if they do announce something on their stupid social media because they don't want to pay attention to their website, then I will update that on smark@momo.com. And as far as the predictions contest is concerned and the fantasy league element of this whole thing, if we change our opinions prior to the pay-per-view, that'll just be one of those things we just, send a quick chat to each other. What are your, what do you think the main event time limit's going to be and all that stuff? We'll roll that in when we talk about that. Keep in mind, too, show your support and, chime in with those comments below, chime in with those comments on Discord, do everything on this marketplace side of things, and also go to amangotree.com and you'll find the link tree list of all the Smart Out Moment, Fanboys Anonymous, and Tony Mango related content that I have up all on those accounts. Follow me if you're interested, and follow Robin Callum, too.
Yep, follow me everywhere. Follow my work on Fightful.com. Oh, I didn't say it. Follow me everywhere at Dude Felice. Follow my work on Fightful.com. I will be here covering Clash in Paris. We'll have some fun. Maybe I'll jump on with Tony afterwards. We'll talk about the show. Hopefully we'll be a lot more positive about the show. But you should also check out what Kellen Wiggins has going on.
You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Weekmeister14. Check out the Power Rankings every single Saturday on smarkmo.com, where I rank the WWE superstars based on their previous week's performances. And while you're over there, you can turn over to the Fantasy League, as previously discussed, where Clash in Paris results will help determine who gets a little boost in terms of extra points, or gets to make some further trades, or gets more advantages, and most importantly, gets a lot of points to help put them either further ahead or help them catch up in the race to win the competition at the end of WrestleMania. So follow that along at WWEFantasyLeague.com.
Rollins is saving my team, right? Or not saving.
When you're saving the team, you're miles ahead of me and Rob, so I wouldn't even worry about that.
Leading the pack for my team, I meant to say.
He's definitely picking up the most points right now. But but I wouldn't worry in your situation right now.
Do you know offhand what the?
You're at least 100 points. You're at least 100 points ahead of both me and Rob, so I wouldn't worry.
All right, everybody. Well, Clash in Paris will be covered all over the place on smarkmomo.com, EWN, and TRR. So you'll see reports about results and stuff there. I'll be giving my thoughts about it after the pay-per-view on the post show, as I usually do, and have fun watching the other episodes of the other 900 hours of television. Maybe it'll be the best episode of MP and Chimpy ever. I don't know. And we'll see you when we see you. Next time around, it's probably going to be the hot tags in some form or fashion. Maybe there's a dark cast in there somewhere. I don't know. But you can also make sure that we do something in particular. If you do the Pick Your Poison tier, if you just are like, man, these guys, I want to give them a break from the pay-per-views. Let's do some interesting watch along or Superstar Scores or something. I don't know. Point being, stay tuned. We'll see you when we see you. This has been another Smart Out Moment, and we're being counted out.